wildfire in East Ramona that quickly spread.
San Diego County's district attorney issues a warning about nitrous oxide following an increase in deadly crashes.
The race for California's governor gets more contentious.
I am an investigative
never had to do
reporter.
this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
We hear from candidate Katie Porter following a confrontational interview and what her opponents are saying.
Voting has begun on Proposition 50, the California redistricting measure. We'll take a closer look at the polling and which voters could make a difference in the special election.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts right now.
Firefighters are making good progress against a wildfire that triggered evacuation orders east of Ramona. But tonight, those orders have been lifted. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. The so-called Rancho fire started off State Route 78 in the area of Kasner Road. But right now, CAL FIRE says it has stopped the forward rate of spread at 104 acres.
CBS 8's Abby Black has been out there all afternoon and joins us live with the very latest. Abby, how are things looking right now?
Well, Carlo and Marcella, there has been a lot of progress. You can see some of that dust that has now come up, and that's because I'm going to step out of the way. The tow truck just hauled off that charred car that CAL FIRE says ignited the Rancho fire just east of Ramona. And we have a new interview from a witness who lives just over the hill who heard the crash happen.
I was at home and I heard a loud explosion and my dog started going crazy, barking. And when I come out, I see like these big black flames, and all of a sudden it spread really fast. It went through like from here to maybe halfway of the little hill in like under a couple minutes.
Diana Amarillo says that her kids were not home, but she was working from home. Her dogs were there. She was terrified, and that's when she evacuated to that evacuation point that was further down the hill. There were evacuation warnings and orders in place, but she was just maybe about 300 yards from where this crash happened. The crash actually happened on her property. And then, as you heard her say, you can see in the burn scar and in our video that the fire then just roared up this ridge. CAL FIRE says, fortunately, when it got to the top of that ridge, that's when it started to slow down. But they still needed to keep those evacuation orders and warnings in place because there were structures on the other side of that hill that were threatened. Now, the fire happened around 1:30 this afternoon. They were able to stop the forward rate of spread around 4:30 this afternoon. 104 acres burned, but they say about 15% is contained. We still have crews here on the scene, and while this fire was active, they did close down State Route 78 in both directions, but around 4:30 this afternoon, they were able to reopen. And Diana tells us that her kids were on their way home on the school bus, and they had to wait in that gridlock while this highway was closed. They were scared as well. And while this is over and everyone is safe, Diana says that she is still very much shaken up just because it happened so close to her. She's still just so terrified and scared that it happened so close and just the unknown. But everyone is safe. Her animals are safe. Her children are safe. And now that we can kind of get back here, I'm going to show you a little bit more information about this car crash that had happened. Now, CHP is not giving us much information, but we were here as they were kind of needling through the car there and trying to investigate exactly what had happened because there's still a lot of unknowns. But what I did in the last hour is I kind of walked back. We couldn't see any tire tracks before, but this is what we believe had happened. If you kind of walk back through that brush right there, and then on State Route 78, the car believed to have come off the road airborne and then land. And then this is what's so bizarre is that it careened at least about 100 yards and stopped here. And that's when Diana says that she heard that car explode. She saw that black smoke, and then the fire then just roared up that ridge. But I'm going to show you as we continue. You can see that burn scar right there that goes up right the ridge. And then if we keep panning over, this fire happened right behind the CAL FIRE Ramona station, right in their backyard. So they're able to quickly dispatch their crews here and get some quick action to try to douse these flames. Eric Tack was here. They were called off around 4:30 again. They're just still putting some hot spots out, and everyone seems to be safe at the moment.
Abby, thanks so much for that update. And we do understand one person was taken to the hospital. No word on that person's condition yet, believed to be the driver of that vehicle.
Right.
So
firefighters were able to get a good handle of that quickly. Moving on now for a look at the conditions that firefighters were dealing with, we're going to turn to Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis.
she joins us for a first look at that and also the rain expected in parts of the county. Carlene?
Yeah, we're talking about some rain in the forecast for the county, but the storms are what's going to be more selective. That looks to favor more so for the mountains and the desert as we go through tomorrow. But when you're talking about the conditions out there in Ramona, it actually has been favorable for today because we do have that influx of moisture moving in with that tropical moisture. So humidity values at the time that the fire broke out were around the 40s, but we've had improvements and increasing in that humidity as we've gone throughout the early evening hours. So you're talking about 60% relative humidity right now, and winds have been fairly light in Ramona throughout the day. So 6 miles per hour with a wind gust right now, 2 miles per hour with sustained wind speed out of the west. We are looking at the cloud cover that is rolling in. This is the view from La Jolla. We're gearing up for that sunset, which is going to be at 6:22. And we've been seeing those clouds build in throughout much of the day. Now we are seeing an active radar at this moment as we are seeing some showers rolling in. More of that moisture has been favoring the desert, and especially for desert communities all the way towards Imperial County and moving in towards the state of Arizona. Now we are seeing some spotty showers out there right now in North County as well as for Ramona and also for Valley Center, but we could see that activity increase as we go through the next couple of hours. We'll take a look at your complete forecast coming up. Carlo.
Thank you, Carlene. And as always, you can find an extended weather forecast on CBS 8 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Criminal charges have been dismissed against 4 San Diego State fraternity members accused of setting one of them on fire during a party skit last year. A judge dropped the cases on Tuesday after the Phi Kappa Psi members completed community service and other requirements. Lars Larson suffered third-degree burns and required skin grafts. He is now suing the fraternity, SDSU, and 2 of the defendants, claiming they delayed getting him help for 3 hours. A hearing in that civil case is scheduled for later this month.
The San Diego County District Attorney's Office just put out a warning about the dangers of inhaling nitrous oxide. DA Summer Stephan says her office has seen an increase in DUI drivers doing what's known as whippets.
CBS 8's Shannon Handy talked with Stephan to learn more.
The term whippets isn't one we're used to hearing. It's used to describe someone who inhales nitrous oxide in order to get high. DA Summer Stephan says it's always been a concern, but even more so now following an increase in deadly crashes.
And nitrous oxide in the last year has really been on my radar, and in a terrible way. And that's why I wanted to issue this warning, because to see us go from 0 to 3 DUI homicides where somebody died because of nitrous oxide is really disturbing. And I don't think people out there understand the risks.
Between October of last year and this past September, the San Diego County Sheriff's Crime Lab received 30 requests for inhalant testing. 29 of those cases involved DUI drivers. Of the 29 cases, 18 of them involved traffic collisions, 8 were felonies, and 3 of the 8 felony cases were fatalities. Those numbers translate to 1 suspected inhalant DUI occurring every other week in the county. Inhaling nitrous oxide creates a euphoric high by cutting off oxygen to the user's brain. Oftentimes, people pass out from it. Nitrous oxide is legally used during medical procedures, for car repairs and cooking, for example, to make whipped cream, but it's illegal to be used for recreational purposes. Stephan says there are loopholes which businesses have taken advantage of. They reportedly sell nitrous oxide in different flavors and colorful labels, marketing to young people. While some cities have banned the sale, it's allowed in San Diego, something Stephan hopes to change.
With this data and with this warning, we're also hoping that our county and our cities will adopt ordinances that make it illegal to sell this substance for clearly being advertised for entertainment. Other regions have done it because they've seen these signs. We didn't have the concerning numbers in San Diego, but all of a sudden in the last year we've seen these.
Some California cities and counties already have ordinances in place banning the sale of nitrous oxide, and that includes Los Angeles, Santa Ana, and Stanton, along with Orange County. Reporting from downtown, I'm Shannon Handy for CBS 8.
Thank you, Shannon. New tonight, we're learning crews from the city of San Diego will begin delivering new gray trash bins to eligible households next week. There is a delay in this process. The bin rollout was initially set to begin this week. City officials say most customers will see the delivery happen on their regularly scheduled trash day. Crews will remove your old black trash bins on that same day. With more than 225,000 eligible households, the city says the delivery process is expected to continue for several months, with some properties getting new bins next year.
San Diego County is investing $75 million to train 3,000 new mental health providers. Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer announced the Elevate program today, which offers zero-interest loans, paid internships, and apprenticeships to break down barriers for people to enter the field. County officials say the initiative addresses a critical shortage as thousands of behavioral health workers near retirement. Meanwhile, an affordable housing project in the Midway District is finally finished. It's called Pacific Village, and as CBS 8's Chris Groh reports, it will support people experiencing homelessness.
And for those of you familiar with this area, it has a completely different look, right? This used to be the Ramada, but right now it is now known as Pacific Village. And this is hoping to, again, give new permanent housing to those who have been homeless. Housing, which of course can open up a whole breadth of possibilities for some who maybe lost hope at some point.
Everything in life is easier when you are safe in housing. Opportunities for career, opportunities for better quality of life and health, opportunities for education, opportunities for community. All of those things are incredibly challenged when you don't have a safe place to live.
And that's Lisa Jones, the CEO of the San Diego Housing Commission. Now, Pacific Village, this is going to be 62 units that are available for those who were previously homeless, 15 set aside specifically for homeless veterans. We're told already they're at about 90% capacity. Now, as we said, this used to be a Ramada Inn, but it was transformed into the Pacific Village thanks to a lot of municipalities that gave money to this cause. $5.9 million from the city as well as the county, and then $16.8 million from the state's Home Key program, which of course grants out money for projects like this to turn buildings, motels, hotels, other pieces of property into permanent housing for those who are homeless. And what we are told is that the way that the rent works here is they usually charge about 30% of whatever a tenant's income may be, whatever it is that their income may be, and then subsidize the rest with housing vouchers from the San Diego Housing Commission. Again, they're already looking at about 90% of the 62 units being leased right now. And again, this is permanent housing, so there's no term here that they can only live. If they choose to and keep paying the rent, they can live here, and they can keep living here until they find new possibilities for housing. Back to you in studio.
Thanks, Chris. UC San Diego is looking to help restore trust in America's elections.
We'll tell you how, still ahead. Plus, what survivors of the Eaton fire are demanding following the release of a proposed compensation plan.
But first, what we're learning about a woman who died after taking the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland.